I never expected the terrifying events of that rainy night to change my life forever. I will never forget the way the thunder crashed, shaking my bones as the sky poured its fury upon the earth. The streets shimmered with ominous reflections, each puddle a mirror to a world on the brink of unraveling. I was drenched, standing there, with my heart racing like a wild animal trapped in my chest. I was only trying to get home, but the darkness swallowed me whole. The wind howled, whispering secrets I dared not understand. The streetlights flickered like a heartbeat, their glow revealing fleeting shadows, darting between the trees lining the sidewalk. I glanced over my shoulder, that tight squeeze in my throat growing tighter, my breath hitching as I sensed eyes watching. That night had been just another ordinary evening, until it wasn't. My best friend, Clara, had called in a panic. "You won't believe what I found," she said, her voice shaking like the leaves outside. Curiosity had urged me out the door, leaving the cozy warmth of my apartment for the chaotic storm. We were young, foolish, and invincible, or so we thought. Clara and I shared everything. Secrets, dreams, and a bond forged in laughter. But that night, that bond would face a test like no other. I reached the old oak tree where she always met me, but she was nowhere to be seen. Just silence. A lump formed in my throat, dread pooling in my gut. The branches swayed, creaking like an ancient creature. Then, I saw it, a flash of light, a surreal glow piercing through the curtains of rain, illuminating the ground. My heart raced as I approached. A small, ornate box lay half buried in the mud, heavy and gleaming with mystery. I reached down, trembling fingers brushing against its surface. The moment I touched it, a jolt shot through me, a shock of electricity that coursed deep into my veins. The sound of thunder roared again, closer this time, as if warning me to stay away. I hesitated, caught between fear and curiosity, breathless with the weight of the unknown. Where was Clara? The air shifted, the wind howling louder, demanding my attention. Then, I heard it, a faint whisper. "Help me." It rose above the chaos, chilling my blood. The voice was haunting, echoing through the deluge. Was it Clara? Panic surged, and I scrambled to my feet, heart pounding. The rain fell harder, the darkness thickening around me like a shroud. Instinct gripped me, propelling me toward the sound, yet with every step, I felt the icy fingers of fear clutching my heart. What was waiting for me in this tempest? Was it only Clara, or something more sinister? I had to know. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. I stumbled through the rain, the streets now an unrecognizable tapestry of shadows and water. Every step I took felt as if I were walking on fragile glass, ready to shatter at the slightest misstep. I strained to catch the whispered cries, my pulse echoing in my ears like a throbbing drum. "Help me," the voice lingered in the air, a ghostly melody that both beckoned and repelled me. The trees around me loomed like silent sentinels, their branches swaying wildly as if shushing the world. I called out Clara's name, my voice barely rising above the symphony of the storm, and was met only with silence, a cruel juxtaposition to the roar of nature's fury. I clutched the ornate box in my hands, its weight a reassurance amid the chaos. Maybe it held the key to understanding what had happened, to bringing Clara back to me. Then, from the corner of my eye, a brief movement caught my attention. I turned and saw a figure shrouded entirely in darkness, standing between the trees. My heart stuttered in my chest. Was this the face of my best friend, lost and wandering in this tempest? Or a sinister entity, using the storm as a curtain to conceal its true nature? "Clara!" I yelled, the word tearing from my throat, mingling with the wind. The figure turned, and for a moment, time froze. In a flash of lightning, I caught a glimpse of a face I had never seen, hollow cheeks and eyes that sparkled with an unearthly light. They weren't human, and fear gripped me, icy and paralyzing. "Run!" The figure hissed suddenly, voice low and urgent. "You must run." My instincts flared, and I bolted, tearing away from the unknown. I didn't know who or what it was, but the urgency in its command propelled me forward. I sprinted blindly, rain stinging my face, crying Clara's name into the void. For what felt like hours, I ran, fueled by dread and hope intertwined. But eventually, I stumbled to a halt, the ground beneath me shifting into familiar terrain. I somehow found myself back at the oak tree, the very spot that had set off this unfathomable chain of events. As I leaned against the sturdy trunk to catch my breath, something glimmered in the corner of my eye. The box I had tucked under my arm began to pulse with an ethereal light. I blinked, startled by the sight, as the rain slowed, transforming now into a gentle mist that muted the sounds around me. With cautious curiosity, I opened the box, revealing a collection of small, intricately carved tokens, each one radiating warmth in my palm. Then, a voice, soft yet piercing, broke through my stunned silence. "There is hope within these. They must be used wisely." I spun around, half expecting to see the dark figure again, but it was only the wind, whispering through the leaves. Confusion and intrigue wrestled in my heart as I pocketed the tokens carefully, feeling their warmth seep into my skin. What did they mean? Where was Clara? Just as the edges of panic began to curl around me again, a familiar voice echoed around the clearing. "I heard you. Clara." It was her voice, tinged with desperation and laden with echoes of the night's chaos. My chest tightened at the sound as I rushed toward it. "Clara! Where are you?" I shouted, frantically scanning the area. Momentarily, I caught sight of her, but she was not where she should be. The mist curled around her like a shroud, and she was partially obscured, as if she were flickering between two worlds. I felt the air grow heavy with something unsettling. "Clara!" I reached for her, wanting nothing more than to pull her from the depths of whatever shadow grasped her. But as our eyes met, the world stilled completely. She looked terrified, a reflection of my own fear mirrored back at me. "I can't hold on much longer," she breathed, her voice trembling. "Clara, I have the tokens. I'll figure it out." I shouted, desperation clawing at my insides as I stepped forward, my heart racing. But she began to fade, just as the wind picked up again, throwing droplets of rain against my face harshly. "Trust the tokens, they are real," she screamed, her voice stretching thin before it vanished into thin air, leaving nothing but silence and my mounting dread. Trembling, I clutched the box tightly, fighting the tears that pooled in my eyes. The echo of her voice haunted me, and I felt the weight of the unknown pressing down on my shoulders. I was frozen, grappling with the choice before me. I had no idea what was waiting, but I knew Clara was slipping through my fingers like sand. And as I stood there, heart racing, the wind carried a new whisper to my ears, one that was different from before, darker and laden with a promise. "Let go or lose everything." The choice gnawed at my soul, and I had a sinking feeling that the night was just beginning to reveal its true nature. The tension in the air coiled like a serpent around me, biting at the edges of my resolve. Clara's anguished eyes haunted my thoughts, the fleeting moments we had shared flickering in and out of focus like the dying embers of a fire. Each time I remembered her laughter or the way she tilted her head slightly when she was listening intently, my heart crumbled just a little more. I could feel the weight of the tokens in my pocket, their warmth now a faint reassurance against the cold dread that gripped my heart. Desperation shrouded me as I took a deep breath, the mist hanging in the air heavy with the scent of earth and rain. I needed to act, to find clarity in this swirl of chaos. "If the tokens hold hope," I murmured to myself, "then I have to use them." But the question lingered like a specter: how? A low crack of thunder snapped me from my reverie, and I pressed my hand against the rough bark of the oak tree, grounding myself. It was then that I decided the first token would be tested tonight. Whatever this entity hiding in the shadows might be, I refused to let fear keep me captive. I needed to summon my courage that I reached into my pocket and pulled out the first token, its smooth surface warming against my palm. With a flicker of resolve, I held it out in front of me, letting my fingers trace the intricate carvings on its surface. I whispered, "Please, if you can help me, reveal your purpose." The moment the words left my lips, the air crackled with energy, and the token pulsed vibrantly in my hand, casting a faint glow around me. I felt a gentle heat radiate outward, dispelling the chill I had carried with me since the storm began. "Clara," I said, desperation lacing my voice. "I'm coming for you." Suddenly, the mist around me began to swirl, forming shapes that danced like fleeting memories. I squinted, and within the fog, I could see familiar figures, those of smiling friends gathered under the oak tree, the warmth of the summer light enveloping us. I reached out, longing to join them, but a cold realization washed over me. Those moments were just illusions thrown by the tempest surrounding me. "Get away from them!" a voice bellowed, sharp and commanding. It shattered the fragile spell the token had cast, and the images dissipated like morning dew under the rising sun. My heart leapt in terror as I looked toward the source, the dark figure re-emerging from the shadows, its features now more defined yet still uncanny. "Who are you?" I demanded, my voice steadier than I felt. "What do you want?" The figure stepped closer, its eyes gleaming like fragments of shattered stars. "I offer power," it said, its tone soothing yet laced with malice. "Lost souls need to be freed, and I can assist you. But in exchange, you must be willing to let go of what holds you back." I recoiled at the prospect. "Let go? You want me to abandon Clara?" The figure nodded, a chilling smile gracing its lips. "Let go of her, and embrace what lies beyond. You can do so much more without her tether anchoring you to this world." "No!" I shouted defiantly, clutching the token tightly. The warmth surged through me, igniting a flicker of hope amidst the rising tide of dread. "I won't leave Clara behind. I will find a way to bring her back." The figure's smile wavered, and for a moment, it flickered like the light in a dying bulb. "Very well," it sneered, darkness pooling around it like ink spilled on white parchment. "But beware, for the deeper you tread into the unknown, the more you risk losing yourself in her." With that warning hanging in the air, the figure slinked back into the shadows, leaving me alone with the damp earth and the treacherous weight of the world pressing down on my shoulders. My heart raced, emotions swirling inside me like a tempest of fears and determination. I wiped my cheek, pulling in a shuddering breath, and focused on the remaining tokens. As the rain continued to descend in a gentle patter, I felt a renewed determination surge within me. Clutching the second token firmly, I focused on Clara's face, the connections we shared, the promises whispered in laughter. "Show me the way," I whispered, "bring me to her." The air thickened once more, vibrating with anticipation, and I felt the heartbeat of something powerful beginning to stir deep within the darkness. Just as the token began to glow, illuminating the path forward, I heard another sound, a whisper, soft yet insidious. "If you truly pursue this path, you may lose more than just her." My breath caught in my throat as icy terror gripped me once more. What could possibly be worse than losing Clara? I need to find her. I needed to hold on tight to hope, but I could feel the dark tendrils of fate beginning to weave their complicated tapestry around me. Each breath felt heavy with foreboding, every heartbeat echoing a troubling truth: my choices had consequences. And with that, uncertainty loomed as the next challenge awaited, shrouded in shadows yet to reveal themselves. The rain poured harder, drumming against the earth in an urgent rhythm that matched the frantic beating of my heart. Looking down at the glowing token clutched in my hands, I tried to quell the roiling sense of dread building in the pit of my stomach. "Show me the way," I repeated, more fervently this time, as if my words could convince the universe to grant me the guidance I so desperately sought. The token pulsed, sending out waves of warmth that contrasted sharply with the chilling grasp of uncertainty creeping up my spine. As the light enveloped me, the shadows began to shift, creating a hazy pathway that seemed to reach into the very heart of the storm. Yet, the whispers lingered, an unsettling reminder of the dark costs that lay ahead. With trembling resolve, I stepped forward into the pathway of light. Each step felt like it was deepening my connection to the unknown, but I pushed through, the image of Clara's beaming smile burning brightly in my mind. Those piercing green eyes, once filled with laughter, now echoed with a haunting sorrow that I could not bear. The world around me transformed. I was no longer standing in the rain-soaked field but instead surrounded by swirling mist, alive with glimmers of light. Ethereal images hovered just out of reach, scenes of Clara's life unraveling before me, her warmth, her kindness, the way she always believed in the beauty of tomorrow. But then, horrifyingly, some of those images twisted, showing moments drenched in despair, Clara standing alone, her gaze lost, a look of abandonment etched on her features. Each new scene felt like a stab in my heart, and I tightened my grip on the token, willing it to guide me through this devastating labyrinth. Clara! I cried out, my voice trembling as it echoed through the thickening fog. I'm coming. Just hold on. As if responding to my plea, the mist began to part, revealing a clearing lit by an eerie twilight glow. No longer a world of fragmented memories, this place felt alive, an echo of our shared past, yet tinged with an undercurrent of foreboding. I hesitated, a persistent itch of doubt clawing at the edges of my resolve. Was this a path to Clara, or would it simply draw me deeper into despair? Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught my eye. A figure stood in the shadows, still and silent. My heart dropped at the thought of it being the dark entity again, and for a moment, fear rendered me immobile. But then, hope bloomed anew. Clara! The figure turned sharply, and I held my breath as recognition settled in. It wasn't Clara, but rather Sarah, her younger sister, whose spirit had also been claimed by the storm. The two of us had formed a bond during those harrowing days after Clara's disappearance, sharing our grief, often in the company of quiet tears. But now, Sarah stood before me, her expression cloudy with confusion and despair. "What are you doing here?" she whispered, her voice barely audible over the distant rumble of thunder. "You shouldn't have come. It's dangerous." "I'm looking for Clara," I replied, stepping closer, desperate to connect in this surreal moment. "I can feel her, and I think the tokens might be able to help me find her, to bring her back." Sarah shook her head slowly, grief etched deeply into her features. "You don't understand," she said. "The storm is angry. It doesn't want you to disturb what has already been taken. You could lose everything if you push too far." As her words sunk in, a creeping doubt wormed its way into my heart. "But I can't leave her. I won't abandon her like this. She deserves to be found." "Sometimes, letting go is the only way to save yourself," Sarah's voice trembled, the weight of unshed tears filling her eyes. "I came here to warn you, but if you keep going, you may just end up like Clara." I felt my resolve falter at the thought, an unsettling fear bubbling to the surface. "What do you mean? What happened to her?" A sharp hiss of wind swept through the clearing, a distant echo of Clara's laughter now transformed into something ominous. Sarah's expression darkened. She couldn't let go. And now, she's trapped here, just like me. The realization crashed over me like icy water, chilling me to my core. Was it true? Was Clara lost beyond reach, ensnared in a web of darkness because of the same stubbornness I was clinging to? My thoughts spiraled down a twisted path of hopelessness as I wrestled with my feelings, uncertainty wrapping itself around me, threatening to pull me under. "I have to try," I murmured, clutching the token tighter, the warmth pulsing a steady rhythm against my palm. I want to let her go without a fight. She is still here, I can feel it. But Sarah stepped back, shaking her head. "You don't understand. In this realm, sacrifices are made. Each step you take brings consequences. If you pursue this, there's a chance that you may lose yourself forever. That you'll remain haunted by shadows." "No," I whispered, feeling the weight of her words heavy in the air. "I can't let that happen. My voice began to tremble as anticipation washed over me, mixing with dread. Suddenly, a loud crack of thunder reverberated, and the ground shook beneath my feet. The storm flared bright, its chaotic energy swirling around us like a sentient force. I turned back to Sarah, but the shadows were closing in, her image blurring, warping. "Please, you have to listen," she cried out, but the storm drowned her words, an agonizing farewell as her figure faded into the darkness, swallowed whole by the mist. The ground beneath me gave way, and panic clawed at my chest as the world around me twisted violently. "Sarah!" I screamed, reaching out, but it was too late. The shadows rolled in, a suffocating blanket that enveloped me, leaving only a whisper in the wind, "Beware the price of your determination." Just as I felt myself slipping away, I remembered the token in my hand, clinging desperately to its warmth like a lifeline. A decision loomed like a specter in the mist as uncertainty deepened around me, a moment of truth approaching, unveiling a path filled with untold perils. Every instinct screamed for me to retreat, to run from the shadows that threatened to engulf me. But the flickering warmth of the token was undeniable, grounding me in a reality where not all was lost. I made a choice, one that echoed with the fear of consequences. I would push forward. As I steadied my breathing, images of Clara swirled around me once more vivid and urgent than ever. I could see her silhouette outlined in the storm, a beacon of light amidst the darkness gnawing at my resolve. She needed me, and that was enough to silence the doubts whispering in my ears. The shadows buzzed with chaos, wrapping around me like tentacles, but somehow, the token glowed brighter, pushing them back, creating a protective barrier. I focused on that light, drawing strength from it, as I dared to step deeper into the storm's heart. With every step I took, the pulsing energy flickered between menace and comfort, guiding me toward the unknown. Suddenly, a figure materialized ahead, not Clara, but a boy, standing calmly amidst the chaos. He appeared oblivious to the storm towering around him, his face painted with an unsettling serenity. I squinted through the mist, unsure if he represented hope or despair. "Who are you?" I called out, my voice trembling against the tempest. The boy turned towards me. He had an aura of familiarity, as if I had seen him in fleeting memories of Clara's laughter and warmth. "I'm Ethan," he replied softly, his voice calm as the eye of the storm. "I was once lost here, just like her." My heart raced. "You know Clara?" He nodded, his malachite green eyes reflecting the depth of the world around us. "I was drawn here the same way as you. I felt her spirit so vividly. But it was a trap, just like it might be for you. Sometimes the calling gets twisted, becomes something darker. Why are you still here?" I pressed, fear clawing at me anew. "If you were found, what kept you from leaving?" "Because," he said, the shadows whispering around him, "I lost sight of my own light while trying to save someone else. I sacrificed too much and now, I'm forever bound to this place." His gaze grew distant, the pain of his words wrapping around me like the storm's embrace. "You must understand, this world rewards obsession with sorrow. To seek too hard can take you away. Do not repeat my mistakes." His words hung, heavy like the rain above, a stark contrast to the glimmer of hope I still held for Clara. "I can't abandon her. She is somewhere in this storm, and I can feel her. I need to prove it." A flicker of admiration crossed Ethan's face, but it was swiftly tainted by concern. "You might find her. But clarity comes with a cost. You need to decide what you are willing to sacrifice to grasp your hope." Before I could respond, a violent gust swept through, dragging the breath from my lungs. The token's warmth flickered, wavering against the encroaching darkness that filled the clearing. "I won to lose her," I shouted defiantly, digging my heels into the ground. But as I did, the shadows circled tighter, devouring the light surrounding the token until a deep chill seeped into my bones. Panic surged within me, crashing into my resolve like the waves of the storm against the cliffs. Suddenly, a piercing scream echoed through the air, a familiar cry that reverberated against my heart. My blood ran cold as I recognized it. "Clara!" I cried, feeling both dread and urgency claw at me. She was so close yet so far. Ethan grabbed my arm, his grip firm and steady. You must choose. If you're intent on following the cry, remember, the choice to go deeper may snare your soul. The ground trembled beneath me, trembling as if caught in the battle between light and dark, and in that moment, with Clara's voice tearing my heart apart with each beat, I made a choice. I have to find her, I whispered, the words coughed out with anguish. No matter the cost, I will find her. Then brace yourself, Ethan warned, a flicker of something in his eyes that looked like hope paired with fear. The storm is rising. Choose wisely. As the shadows closed in, I took a breath of clarity. From the warmth of the token. This time, I knew I would face the tempest head-on. The ground shifted, revealing a fissure, a yawning void promising dark pathways as the echoes of Clara's voice became a melody that intertwined with my very essence. My heart pounded against my ribcage, spurred on by an uneasy sense of purpose. And as I faced the darkness, something inside me collided fiercely with the truth, a whisper that perhaps this was the moment that would cement my fate. Would I rescue Clara or become another lost soul entwined within this storm? As the last flicker of light surged against the waves of shadows, I took a step forward, the cost looming ahead like an insurmountable wave. The horizon darkened further, beckoning ominously, while the winds howled around me like lost spirits caught in a struggle. And yet, amongst that chaos, I caught a glimpse of Clara, her silhouette breaking through the malice of the storm, reaching out to me. I staggered forward, drawn by an unseen force. But right before my hand could connect with hers, the earth quaked violently, and an unexpected truth crashed down with it like a thunderous judgment. You do not recognize what you truly seek. Choose, and be ready to pay. The shadows surged, consuming the light, and as Clara faded further into the abyss, I realized the heart of the storm was beginning to claim me as well. The last echo of her laughter lingered in the air, wrapped in a poignant reminder of love and loss, just as the darkness closed in around me once more. The moment Clara's silhouette slipped from my grasp, an anguished scream clawed its way out of my throat. The shadows around me expanded with malicious glee, hungry for my desperation. My heartbeat thudded furiously in my ears, drowning out the storm's howl. Every instinct screamed for me to pursue her, but an icy tendril of fear crept into my gut, whispering warnings of despair. Stay strong. I shouted into the chaos, though my voice quivered like a candle flickering in an encroaching wind. Ethan's presence flicked like a shadow beside me, his eyes narrowing with concern as I stood at the brink of the void. You can't follow her blindly, he urged. Look what the storm wants you to see. Sometimes the light is an illusion designed to ensnare. But how could I not chase after the one thread of hope left in this dark realm? Clara was out there, her essence tangling with the echoes of my very being. I don't care about the danger. I just want to bring her back. I shot back, stepping closer to the crack in the earth. The shadows hissed, as if they found amusement in my defiance, then, as if summoned from the depths of my turmoil, a soft voice pierced through the tumult. If you want to save Clara, you must face the truth of your own heart. The voice echoed like a haunting melody, familiar yet foreign. Anxiety felt like poison curling through my veins as I strained my ears to discern who spoke. Who are you? I demanded, glancing around, searching the moving shadows for answers. A figure emerged, cloaked in a bone-white shroud that swirled with the energy of the storm. Their face remained concealed, but two glimmering eyes bore into my soul. I am a guide, a keeper of paths on this stormy night. Your choices echo in the realm between loss and salvation. I felt Ethan pull back, instinctively wary. Don't trust it. He cautioned, but I could hardly hear his warning over the roaring winds. What truth must I face? I asked, curiosity battling with dread. Is Clara really here? Is she safe? The truth is not a promise or a guarantee, the voice replied with a gentle yet unyielding tone. Only you can discover the cost of your determination. Would you sacrifice your essence for her to be free? You cannot act as savior without knowing what you must concede. I hesitated, a shiver coursing down my spine as my thoughts raced. The idea of sacrificing any part of myself felt impossible. But wasn't that exactly what love demanded? To give fully, to stand firm even when the stakes were high. I would give anything, I declared, clenching my fists in determination. That, the figure let out a low, echoing laugh that reverberated through the storm, mingling with the cries of the shadows. You are brave, yet so unknowing. But bravery alone is rarely enough in these realms. The darkness feeds on stakes like yours, and it has a way of twisting love into chains that bind. Before I could express my outrage, the ground trembled beneath me. The fissure widened, threatening to swallow us whole, and the unseen force that compelled me dimmed, like a flame starved of oxygen. I felt lost again, a haunting reminder of my helplessness. Grab my arm, Chase. Ethan yelled, the urgency in his tone snapping through my uncertainty. I acted without thought, reaching for him, anchoring myself amidst the storm's chaos. But before I could secure my grasp, the shadows flashed, revealing Clara's face just beyond the veil. The desperation in her eyes was palpable as she mouthed words I couldn't hear. Tears blurred my vision, and I turned back to the shrouded figure, desperate. How can I truly save her? What must I do? The storm holds the answers you seek, the figure intoned, their voice growing fainter as a gust of wind swept through us. But remember, the path to understanding comes with the shadows of your past lurking ever nearer. And once you step through, there is no turning back. My heart raced, and instinct demanded action. I pulled away from Ethan and surged towards the gaping void, my pulse thrumming in time with an electric desperation. Caught in that fleeting moment of hesitation, I leaped into the darkness, swallowed whole by the storm. The chill of the void wrapped around me, tearing through my reality. Memories of laughter, pain, and love tangled in a chaotic swirl. The storm's tendrils grasped at my essence, pulling me deeper into the abyss, but I fought back, desperate to pull Clara out from the clutches of despair. As visions darted through my mind, images of my past flickered like lightning in the dark. The look of hurt on Clara's face when I failed her before, the laughter torn from our lives too soon, and the longing that suffocated me in her absence echoed through the chambers of my heart. And then, amidst it all, her voice rang clear and sharp like crystal, a cry pleading for help and a bond demanding resolution. Chase! Save me! In that moment of clarity, the truth crashed down on me like a wave, suffocating yet breathtaking. I could reach her, but I would have to confront not just the storm, but everything I had ever tried to hide from myself, every dark thought and regret that had followed me like a shadow. The swirling chaos began to coalesce, forming a path, luminous and frail. My resolve solidified, an ember igniting a fire. I pushed forward, spirit tethered to Clara, determined to brave the storm's fury for her return. But deeper I went, and as I neared the heart of the tempest, something unexpected caught my eye, a shadow that flickered truthfully in the storm. Fear twisted my stomach as recognition hit. No, it can't be. As I pushed onward, torn between hope and dread, I braced for what lay ahead. That revelation promised to change everything. And as the shadows closed in again, I couldn't shake the sense that losing Clara wasn't the only cost I would face. The true price of this journey was still unveiling itself, just beyond the veil. The darkness swirled around me, an eternal tempest that threatened to pull me deeper into its malevolent grasp. My heart raced as I edged forward, the images of Clara's pained expression seared into my mind, a haunting reminder of everything I had lost. Each step felt laden with the weight of my memories, and the shadows whispered cruelly, taunting me with every haunted moment. Chase, it's your fault, they hissed, echoing the self-doubt that bubbled within me. I could almost hear Clara's voice amidst the tumult, accusing and sorrowful, twisting my love into anguish. I stumbled, the fragile path beneath my feet wobbling dangerously. Enough! I shouted into the void, trying to drown out the cacophony of regret and shame. I want to let you take me. But with every step, the storm held back, as if it reveled in my defiance. Clarity slipped further from my grasp, like sand through my fingers, yet the thought of Clara kept me grounded. I'm coming for you, Clara. I cried out, pouring every ounce of my determination into my words, the storm's intensity surged, and a fierce wind whipped against me, almost as if it were testing my resolve. In moments like these, it felt easier to relent, to succumb to the darkness that sought to shroud my spirit. But as I battled to keep my footing, something shifted within the chaos, a flicker of illumination amid the consuming night. A figure emerged, indistinct at first, but as it drew closer, the silhouette became clearer. It had a familiar shape, bathed in ethereal light. My heart pounded in my chest as I squinted to see, not knowing if the storm was conjuring illusions to further torment me. Chase. The voice was tentative, and it tugged at my heart with a bittersweet familiarity. Is that you? Clara. I erupted, faltering in my stride as hope flooded my veins. The shadow resolved into her form, a vision born of my longing, but even as I rejoiced, there was a flicker of something deeper lurking behind her gaze, a shadow of fear. Chase, please, you shouldn't be here. She gasped, her voice trembling but urgent. You don't understand the cost. The storm, it feeds on your pain and will ruin you. No. I shouted, unwilling to accept that she would ask me to retreat once more. You're here, this proves I can save you. I just need to find you. In my absence, you've borne too much anguish, she sorrowed, stepping back slightly. Your heart, it can't take any more. The storm will twist the love we shared into chains that bind us. Her words, though painful, echoed the warning of the shadowy figure I had encountered. The stark reality of my love's potential consequence clawed at my insides. But I wasn't ready to relent. I won't abandon you, Clara. You need me. No, Chase. Look beyond me. She pleaded desperately, gesturing behind her. The truth you must face, it's not just shadows, it's your memories. They can devour you from within. My breath hitched in my throat as a surge of the storm threatened to push me back. The shimmering path wavered, and once again, my doubts crept in as Clara's radiant light began to dim, fading into the dark. I can't lose you again. I pleaded, stretching my arms toward her, feeling the distance grow like a chasm. What do I need to do? Tell me. The darkness converged around her, and her figure was swallowed just as suddenly as she appeared. You must remember, Chase. You cannot forsake the past if you wish to save me. Each truth is a part of you. Each moment will bring the strength you need, but you must face them all. And then the storm unleashed its fury upon me, its howl a wretched melody blending my longing with despair. I fell to my knees, the ground shifting under me, as I felt my memories rush forward, some familiar, others unrecognizable, images cascaded in rapid succession, laughter shared with Clara on sun-soaked days, the warmth of her hand in mine, echoed by shadows of disagreement and pain, the night we lost her, the haunting silence that followed. Each recollection wrapped around me like a shroud, tightening with each revelation, and I could feel pieces of myself ripping away. I closed my eyes, surrendering to the turbulent tide, and allowed myself to be overwhelmed. I had hidden from these truths for too long, pretending they didn't exist, but the cost of love had never been about ignoring pain. Instead, through the darkness, I began to confront each moment, piece by piece. The laughter transformed into echoes, rebounding off the walls of my heart, reminding me of the lightness that once existed, but the grief clawed at me, daunting and insatiable. I'm sorry, Clara, I should have listened, slipped from my lips as I leaned into the despair, but then, amidst that suffocating sorrow, came a flicker of warmth, the memory of Clara squeezing my hand, her gentle laughter painting colors against the bleak canvas of my mind. I realized that wading through this heartache forged a connection, and with each moment embraced, I felt a strength ignite a fire that would guide me through the night. As I rose to my feet, the path began to illuminate once more, revealing a way forward. And as I took a step, a reference flickered. It felt as if Clara's light was pushing me along. But then, just as I began to see the glimmering truth ahead, a chilling sensation gripped my heart, icy and undeniable. Suddenly, the shadows twisted and reflected a new image, one that shattered my resolve. Ethan's face appeared, panic-stricken and torn, as he stumbled into the storm, the same swirling darkness enveloping him that now grasped at my own soul. Chase! He cried, desperation coating his voice. You can't stay. The storm isn't just after Clara, it's come for you both. My heart lurched, my newfound hope clawed away in an instant as I faced the reality of this relentless storm that laid siege to everything I cared for. Ethan, no. But as the shadows surged, a bitter laugh echoed, and I could feel the storm's clutches tightening around my throat. Clara's pleas resonated in my mind. You must confront every truth for the both of you. A rift opened, and as I surged forward, a heart-wrenching choice loomed before me. Would I embrace the darkness to save my friend in an attempt to protect Clara? Or would the storm consume us all? And as shadows converged, I could sense that the answer to my fate was as distant as love itself, just beyond the veil. As the chilled fingers of the storm grasped at my resolve, I felt the weight of choice pressing down on me. The swirling shadows seemed to swell in anticipation, as if daring me to make a decision. I glanced at Ethan, his face pale, marred with fear. Memories of our childhood, the laughter that had once echoed through sun-drenched groves, surged unbidden. But the laughter felt distant, muted by the urgency of the moment. Chase! His voice sliced through the maelstrom, raw and desperate. You're losing yourself in this darkness. We have to fight back. Fight back. I echoed, incredulity mixing with despair. What if the choice brings you into this storm, too? A sudden panic seized me, gnawing at the edges of my hope. What if every connection I made now only led to more loss? What if it consumes us both? The howling wind swirled with a vengeance as I grappled with the truth of both our fates. Clara's words resonated in my mind like the tolling of a distant bell, each moment a step toward salvation. If only I could summon the courage to face the intertwined grief that threatened to engulf us all. Listen to me, Chase. Ethan's eyes held a fierce intensity as he stepped closer, eyes blazing against the encroaching darkness. This isn't just about Clara, this is us. It matters. We rage against the storm together. In that moment, the storm stilled as if the darkness hesitated, catching its breath against our shared defiance. Ethan held out his hand, a lifeline amidst the chaos. The faint glow from his palm felt like a beacon illuminating the path carved through despair. Something sparked inside me at the sight of his unyielding spirit. The memories of our friendship flooded back, memories that recalled everything we had fought for, joys and sorrows interwoven with the threads of loyalty. At our core, we were always stronger together. Together? I whispered, my heart aching with the implications. The thought of facing the storm united was both terrifying and thrilling. The chance that perhaps, between us, there existed the strength to combat the overwhelming shadows. But in that fleeting moment of clarity, I felt a familiar tug of sorrow latching onto my heart like a vice. Clara's fading light flickered in the periphery, a reminder that though Ethan and I might fight side by side, her presence loomed over every choice I made. What if I don't have the strength to save us all? Chase, we can't think that way. Ethan countered, squeezing my hand just as Clara once had. We owe it to Clara to try. She wouldn't want us to give in. His fervent conviction spun me into motion, and I took a step forward. Then let us push through it. As we advanced, Ethan at my side, the shadows writhed and twisted, furious for our defiance. But something shifted, the darkness no longer felt insurmountable. Collective strength surged around us as we marched forward, arm in arm, our determination igniting a newfound glow caused by unity. Then the storm unleashed its rage anew, as if acknowledging our commitment and wanting to strip it all away. We staggered against howling winds and the weight of grief, but with every step, Clara's laughter rang through my heart, a sweet melody woven with hope. Suddenly, just past the choking fog, the haunting specter of Clara appeared again, shimmering as if reality itself dared not let her go. Chase! She cried out, her voice both warm and piercing. You must listen. There is a truth I haven't told you, a truth that could change everything. Fear clawed at my insides. Clara, what do you mean? I strained against the pull of the shadows, and Ethan's unwavering grip sidelined my confusion. The storm isn't the only thing that feeds on pain, she replied, her edges fading with the tumultuous winds. There is a choice you can make, but you must understand the consequence. If you save one, you may lose another. No. I felt the crushing blow of her words. I won't sacrifice anything. There has to be a way. Ethan surged forward, determination mirrored in his gaze. Tell us what to do, Clara. We will take it on together. But as I reached toward her shimmering form, her figure began to distort, spinning with shadows gathering relentlessly around us. The darkness coiled tighter, threatening to swallow her whole. Only with truth can you wield the light. Clara's voice blared through the clamor, but her words faltered, slipping through my fingers like grains of sand. Find the balance. Ethan's grasp tightened around me as realization crashed through me like lightning. The balance my heart tipped between the choice of love and loyalty, echoed by the memories I had once chosen to ignore. My pulse raced, the prospect of failure looming all too real. What if the truth is too much? I shouted over the ghostly howling, but from somewhere deep within, a flicker of courage ignited as I faced the encroaching shadows anew. I had to confront the painful memories that had haunted us, to grasp the strength needed to save them both. There was no other choice, and then suddenly, the rift deepened, revealing swirling visions, memories that had long been locked away. I was forced to confront the heart of my past, spiraling toward the revelations I feared the most. In that moment, the ground beneath began to quake, as if the storm sensed our resolve, plunging into chaos as the boundaries between shadow and light began to blur. Chase, we can still control this. Ethan shouted, his fierce loyalty forging a tremor of hope amidst the impending darkness. But Clara's figure began to shimmer ominously, and I felt reality bending under the ferocity of my choices. Balance the pain, she cried, but the storm lurched violently, a final push before everything plunged headlong into obscurity. And the heartbeat before the storm descended upon us, as shadows merged and light dimmed, an unexpected burst fractured the air. A startling revelation shook the ground. My heart stammered with the weight of everything coming to a head. Ethan's eyes widened in horror and realization as we stood together, confronted by a truth that lit the path but could just as easily lead to our doom. We had waded deep into the shadows, and whatever awaited us on the other side would forever alter our fates, binding us in either joy or sorrow. Chase, Ethan began, but our alleviation flickered beneath the storm's fury. We were drawn inevitably closer to the fierce reckoning. The truth could save us, but it also threatened to unravel us all. The storm roared louder, deafening and relentless, dragging us nearer to a revelation we could not escape. And just as I braced for the onslaught, the landscape shifted violently, shadows colliding with memories, fracturing the very fabric of our existence. Every uncertainty rushed back, confronting me head-on, and in that instant, realization took hold, a staggering realization that, perhaps, the true storm was not behind us, but within. And as darkness edged ever closer, I fully acknowledged the choice before me, the path upon which I must tread, swirling with echoes of love, guilt, and an unexpected truth that could either shatter or save us all. The storm settled over us, an ominous weight, heavy with unbridled uncertainty. As the winds howled, my heart raced, feeling as if it was tangled with the impending chaos. Ethan's presence beside me was both a comfort and a reminder of everything that was at stake, not just for us, but for Clara, whose ghostly visage clung to the fringes of our reality. Chase, we can't let the storm consume us. You need to trust what we've built, Ethan urged, his voice tinged with desperation. But what did trust mean in the face of such a colossal choice? In every fiber of my being, I felt the cruel pull of fate. Clara's words echoed in my mind, a choice that could protect one and condemn another. And the painful histories that lingered on the edge of our memories became sharper, more pronounced, as if they yearned for recognition. I closed my eyes, drowning in a swirling tide of recollections. Images of Clara, sparkling in summer sunlight, intertwined with shadows of arguments and the falling out that had shattered the sacred bonds of our trio. Somewhere in the discord, I had hidden pieces of my heart, and the storm cradled them, threatening to tear them away forever. Do you remember the hill we used to climb? The old oak tree? Ethan asked, voice slicing through my reverie. Clara loved that tree. We spent hours there, dreaming of our futures. Of course, I whispered, the bittersweet memory invoking a warmth amidst the dread. Beneath that tree's wide, protective branches, everything felt safe, uncomplicated. We were invincible then. Maybe we can be again. He grasped my shoulder, his touch igniting a warmth battling the chill of the storm. Those memories can be our strength. Clara would want us to fight for her, for us. But how could we fight when the very foundation of our connection was rooted in unresolved sorrow? Could I even move forward when the specter of the past loomed so closely? The wind shrieked louder, and I felt its icy breath on the back of my neck. A tempest swirled inside me, fear and determination at war. I could feel Clara's essence still dancing in the shadows, a flicker of hope and an anchor to the past that both inspired and restrained me. Chase. Her voice called again, quieter now, as if struggling to break free from the storm's embrace. You must acknowledge me. A part of me will always be with you, but you can't let my memory haunt you. You must lead with your heart, together, or the darkness will swallow us. She was right. Despite my trepidation, clarity began to seep through the tumult. My memories didn't need to weigh me down, they could be the source of the strength we required. The laughter, the love, the bright moments we shared, they could illuminate the way through the shadows. I hear you, Clara, I murmured, feeling Ethan's grip tighten, buoyed by a rising tide of possibility. We'll find the balance. Together. But as our resolve solidified, I felt the earth tremble beneath our feet, cracking open like an ancient wound. The whispers of betrayal and guilt rippled through the air like smothered screams. I staggered, nearly losing my footing, as a strange vision flickered before us, the oak tree, warped and distorted, roots twisting deeper beneath an angry sky. No! I shouted, fighting against the cascading emotions threatening to crush me. Not this. Not again. But as I braced for the onslaught, the ground kicked upward, thrusting a familiar face into view, a jarring reminder of everything I had lost. A figure emerged from the swirling depths, his face honed by time, shadowed with pain and regret. Chase, the man said, voice deep yet trembling with sorrow. I'm sorry. I never wanted this. Dad? The word escaped me like a gasp, laced with disbelief. Listen, son, he implored, stepping closer even as shadows seemed to engulf him. I was wrong to leave. To abandon you and Clara. I made choices that destroyed us. But you have a chance to change things. Don't let the darkness take hold. My heart pounded violently as memories, suppressed for years, surged like an avalanche. Anguish, loss, and betrayal broke free from their prison. And I could see the truth cloaked in layers of emotions. The storm howled, urging me to confront the shadows of my past. No, Dad. You can't just show up now. I shouted, fury igniting within me. You missed everything, and now you expect me to trust your words. Everyone makes mistakes, he replied, his expression earnest, full of heartfelt remorse. But you have the power to break the cycle. To choose love over fear. The winds whipped around us, fury and chaos merging with my conflicted heart. The truth he offered felt like a deadly temptation. Would trusting him be the very fall that led me deeper into the storm? The echoes of the past squeezed at my ribs, suffocating reason, and I struggled to disentangle myself from the chaos that threatened to consume my resolve. Clara's silhouette hovered in the background, a haunting reminder of everything I had once cherished and lost. Chase, fight. Find the way to what matters. And as I wrestled with the ghosts of my past, a spark flickered within me, the pain of the moment giving birth to new resolve. The storm raged, but I could now feel the glimmer of light beating through the darkness, a hint of clarity amidst disarray, propelling me to make a choice. That I took a step forward, heart pounding, voice trembling yet resolute. No more lies, no more shadows. I will choose love for Clara, for me, for us all. With that declaration rising with the winds, the storm ceased its thrashing, holding its breath as if the very universe awaited my next move. All around, the echoes flourished, coiling through the air, urging me to step deeper into the truth, but in that heartbeat of clarity, I felt an unsettling shift, a dark undercurrent that threatened to pull me under. The wind swirled again, lashing at me fiercely, and I knew, in that moment, the stakes were higher than I could have anticipated. Ethan's grip wavered as he stumbled beside me, confusion clouding his features. Chase. What is happening? And then everything shifted violently, a darkness rupturing the ground beneath us, and I felt a scream claw its way up my throat. A choice made in desperation loomed ominously before me, the line between love and sacrifice blurring, straining against the mounting chaos. All at once, I realized, darkness could swallow everything, or it could be the dawn of something undeniably beautiful. What had I unleashed? As shadows crept closer, I braced myself for what was ahead, feeling the weight of my decisions and the tenuous threads guiding us through the storm, knowing we were bound for either liberation or devastation. Time pressed against me as the horizon flickered with dread, and the truth I sought lay just within reach, teetering on the precipice of a storm I had yet to fully reckon with. The storm surged, its winds howling like a pack of wolves released upon the night. As the shadows coiled around us, I stood resolute, hands brushing against the remnants of hope clinging to my jacket pocket, the very tokens that had guided me into this tempest. The echoes of everything I'd lost surrounded me, their wails mingling with my own, but Clara's presence flickered faintly beyond the maw of darkness, a tantalizing promise amid the clamor. Chase. Her voice sliced through the chaos, crystalline and urgent. Please, don't let the storm consume you. Remember the truth, it has the power to save us. Those words reverberated in my heart, and as I felt Ethan's hand squeeze mine tighter, the fear choking me receded just enough to allow clarity to bloom. To save Clara, I had to confront my past, the very core of our history twisted with regrets and misunderstandings, and share those burdens rather than bear them alone. Together, I murmured to Ethan, my resolve crystallizing. We have to do this together. The shadows writhed wickedly, their darkness eager to engulf us, but with renewed strength, we surged forward. Clara. I called, my voice steady now, carving a path through the howling winds. We won't abandon you. We're coming. As we pushed ahead, memories shot forth like arrows, each one a flickering light amidst the heavy pall of despair. Laughter shared, heartfelt confessions, moments when our spirits intertwined, they became our armor against the encroaching darkness. Think of the tree, Ethan urged, his voice rising above the tumult. The love we shared. The bond that can't be broken, it's our strength. But just as we began to feel that strength surge, the storm retaliated, a fierce tempest that clashed against our connection. Clara's silhouette danced on the edge of visibility, her warmth now a ghostly shadow. Chase, Ethan, no. It's a trap. You must. And before she could finish, the ground beneath us quaked violently, splintering the foundations of our resolve. A rift opened wide, its gaping mouth ready to swallow us whole. Panic rose, threatening to obliterate our hard-won courage. Clara. I screamed, reaching towards her, but an unseen force pulled me back, wrapping chains of regret around my feet. It's okay to be scared. Ethan called, grounding me with his fierce determination, but the shadows lunged forward, spitting their venom into the air. A figure became clear within the swirling blackness. My father's face again emerged from the storm. Chase, listen. You have to embrace the truth of your heart. Denial only deepens the shadows. You left. I shouted, emotion flooding my voice. How can I trust you now? Because it's not too late, he replied, eyes rich with sorrow and wisdom. To choose love is to choose courage. Don't fear the storm, it's forged from loss, but within it lies clarity. At that moment, the storm receded briefly, the wind dying down around us as a glimmer of light pierced through. I caught glimpses of Clara again, her eyes reflecting a mixture of hope and despair. Choose. She cried out, desperation coloring her tone. You can't cling to pain. My love must not be your anchor but your guide. And as the truth of her words washed over me, the memories began to coalesce, a blend of laughter and love intertwined with shadows of sorrow. Breathing heavily, I locked eyes with Ethan. "We need to let go of our past burdens together," I said, conviction threading through each word. "No more chains. Only love." We cast our shared pain into the storm, a liberating release, echoing through the air as we forged our path. And together, we took one step closer to the ever-fleeting light. Chase. Clara's voice summoned anticipation, desperation mixed with joy. "With every truth you release, I draw closer." Suddenly, shadows flared dangerously around us, whispers clawing at the edges of my sanity. "Get back. You must not let the light claim you." They screeched, angry and vile. But armed with the knowledge of our past, I stood firm. "We reclaim our power." I bellowed into the tempest, heart racing as the weight of love solidified behind our words. That I in that moment, Clara's figure sharpened, her presence blossoming with vivid clarity, and I felt the shadows retreat ever so slightly. "You still hold the essence of what you cherish," she cried, and as the storm battled against the bonds of our resolve, I could feel her spirit drawing near. Together, we rushed towards her shimmering light, a beacon piercing through the howl of despair. Loss transformed around me as I opened my heart, our memories vibrant, colors swirling in patterns of strength and hope. The darkness coiled, sensing its defeat, and I realized something profound: love, when forged in truth, could disperse even the fiercest storm. I lifted my chin and stepped forward, defiant against the abyss, as my heart broke free of its chains. "Together," I whispered, hand entwined with Ethan's as we charged into the radiant haven Clara represented. The shadows writhed, but love intertwined with truth built an impenetrable barrier ahead, our shared essence creating a path forward, banishing the shadows, and in a moment that felt suspended in time, Clara reached out, her eyes shimmering with pride and warmth. "You did it, Chase. You believed even in the darkest of moments." The storm roared one last time, but as the storm flickered, a gust of wind and warmth rushed toward us, a cyclone of love and memories, lifting the veil of darkness. As Clara slipped past the cloud of shadows, my heart soared, filled with a surge of hope. That I in that final embrace, I knew we had reclaimed what truly mattered, and as we united under the oak tree of our dreams, the final remnants of the storm swirled away. "Promise me," Clara whispered, her voice a gentle caress, full of longing. "Never forget the love you've built, the truth you carried." Tears glistened in my eyes, but I smiled through them, nodding fervently. "I promise, Clara. I'll cherish every moment, every truth. This time, I will hold on." And as the storm yielded, replaced with the bright dawn of a new path, I marveled at the fact that love was not just a memory, but a promise, a power that could mend broken hearts. In that moment of clarity, standing beside Clara and Ethan, surrounded by the remnants of a once fractured bond, I whispered, "You can't lose what you choose to carry in your heart." And as the first rays of sunlight cast away the shadows, I understood love was the storm we weathered together, a testament to our enduring spirit, guiding us forward, forever worthy of the fight.